Cinema Bujang Lapok, which is about three bachelors aspiring actors who went to the Shaw Malay Studios at Jalan Ampas to look for a job as an actor. So it was a comedy, with a bit of song and dance, and a film, which even in recent times when I show it to students, they would always laugh at the kind of comedies that was being made in the 50s, 60s. Yeah. So I thought it might be a very old film that was made 50, 60 years ago, but I think there were still elements, scenes, landscapes, and just a bit of that culture in those films that generations, young people today would still be able to relate to.
Labu Dan Labi, yeah, is probably the oldest film I have a strong memory of, and a strong association of it with Singapore, because it's a film where issues of Singaporeanness start to come up, and that was actually very surprising for me as I was watching it. And then suddenly a musical number comes up where they're singing about being Singaporean and about Singapore's connection to Malaysia. So I was surprised that it was being articulated cinematically so early.
Okay, Jafri Zain Gerak Kilat, one of the oldest films that I've watched. Oldest Singapore film that I watched. It's obviously a James Bond spoof. It came after the James Bond Sean Connery phase. There was secret chambers. There was this room called Room X, which was actually the torture chamber. There was, of course, a token love interest who was the damsel in distress. I believe he drives a very cool car. I remember it was topless. Can't remember the make, but it had gadgets that James Bond would have. It was a James Bond spoof, very fun, B movie.
Many pictures are mostly like Indian films. Those times, very, very slow moving, then not much makeup and all. So it is a very natural also. Ramli is a quite good actor. He can sing also. Di Tanjong Katong Airnya Biru, I don't know, I forgot nowadays.
最老的乔的两岸啊、黑金啊，这个是以前国泰拍的啦。连还有很多那些有些是忘记了，有些忘记了。新加坡有很多旧片的嘛，some they don't keep lah, they cannot make any money, they chuck it nowhere. Last time we don't know how to keep film, You don't keep it properly, then your film will be fungal, scratch and then some loss.
I know I've never seen Cleopatra Wang, although that's definitely on my must-see list.
When I was a kid, my dad decided to bring us all to watch Medium Rare at Bedok Cinema, which is near where I stay, and the cinema no longer exists actually. It was, I believe it was in '91, just after it got converted to a multiplex of sorts. So, but the Kacang Putih man was still there. We were still issued tickets with paper and China graph scribbles to mark your seats. My dad had high hopes for the film because it was after a long period of time where there was zero from the local film industry, and yep, he had high hopes. We bought our tickets, we bought our snacks, we went inside together. It was a full house.
The first Singapore film I watched is probably 12 Stories by Eric Khoo. And I remember watching it in GB Marina with a secondary school friend, and that was probably when I was deciding what I want to pursue as I think that should be sometime when I'm probably in JC or Army, when I'm thinking of what field of study I'm going to pursue. Yeah, so it has a very deep impact on me.
Of all the old Singapore movies, so I long to see, but some I've noted. Really, if I have the chance, I would like to see the Immigrant or the Sinker, which probably was one of the first Singapore-made film. The other one will be another one that is the Song of Singapore, because it talks about patriotism and the love for our country, Singapore.
great thing about films is that for that moment, whatever period, whatever year it is, it captures the world as it is. An old film that I remember, which was showing at cinema at one time, was an old Cathay classic called Air Hostess, which was one of the first coloured films, just during the black and white era. And it's about not only Singapore but also South Asia, and you get to see City Hall during that period. Photographs work in a certain way, but film has another, well, deeper connection because of sound, because of movement, and these things become immortalized in a way, and that's the beautiful part of it.
所以呢，电影呢就变成了一种很特别的medium。那么我拍电影当然不是说要来告诉大家什么啊，主要我们还是拍一个娱乐性的一个电影。因为看电影人家花钱进去，最重要的是，我们能够看一部电影很开心的出来。至于那些 message 啊，还是那些，我认为那是其次，那是导演个人的一种喜爱啊。对于我来讲呢，我觉得你看我的电影，如果能够拿一点东西回去的话，那么我想他会觉得看这部电影是值得的。我觉得啊，如果能够了解我们电影的一个历史，对我们现在的电影工业是一个很好的一个帮助。为什么呢？至少我们不会觉得原来我们呢是从现在开始，你就要懂这些历史，懂一下历史，你会知道它的发展，然后呢，我们怎么改进。
The local heritage, the culture for them, it's important for them to be able to connect and be able to kind of remember